Calling Buzz Lightyear, the galaxy's greatest hero.
As the first fully computer-animated feature film, the original Toy Story was most certainly a pioneer. The problem with going to bold new places, however, is that most others will be hesitant to follow. It's for this reason that, beyond product tie-ins for pre-existing toys appearing in the movie, none of the big toy companies would touch the film with a 10-foot pole. As a result, the toy line for Toy Story 1 was handled by the comparatively obscure Canadian company Thinkway Toys. With this assignment, Thinkway was tasked with recreating Buzz Lightyear as he appeared in the movie. Things have changed a lot since 1995, and several other companies have taken a shot at the world's greatest toy in the intervening years. So does this original toy still hold up today, and ultimately, which figure will earn the title of the best Buzz? In contrast to Woody, whose journey as a real-life toy was plagued with some pretty hideous bumps early on.
Hell yeah!
The original Thinkway Buzz came out pretty good on the first try, though there are some notable compromises. In the movie, Buzz was absolutely packed to the brim with play features, with some more practical than others. As such, Thinkway was left with a choice as to which features would be prioritized, and their decisions would firmly establish the meta for future figures. This Buzz features a manual helmet that pulls back halfway, a laser, a voice chip with 4 phrases provided by Tim Allen, and a set of stubby wings that pop out horizontally. Additionally, some later variants added the wrist communicator, but this was never a feature of the main mold. While the selection here is lacking a bit compared to the movie, I believe Thinkway picked just the right things to make this Buzz a very solid representation of the movie character. This figure captures the on-screen look exceedingly well, complete with glow-in-the-dark paint, minus a few oddities such as a strangely scrawny waist and some slightly bulgy eyeballs. But this overall accuracy is probably due to Thinkway basing it directly on Pixar's data from the film, which, given that this was the 90s, I assume that means some Pixar animator had to begrudgingly pull up the model while the toy designer leaned over their shoulder. In spite of some shortcomings, Thinkway's inaugural Buzz Lightyear toy was an extremely solid effort, and its flaws certainly weren't enough to keep it from being repainted and reissued over and over, including a Disney Store exclusive version in this garish Buzz Lightyear of Star Command packaging. Similarly, Toy Story itself proved to be a huge hit, and all the toy companies who had initially doubted the movie were now fighting for the chance to take control of the tie-in toy line. The first of these competitors was Hasbro, and in 2001 they released their own rendition of a movie-style Buzz figure under the Toy Story and Beyond banner. And it's kind of tough to tell whether this is actually an improvement over the Thinkway version or not. In terms of play features, this Buzz has all the same as the original, with some improvements. The wings now flip upwards and have a length much closer to the ones in the movie, and the voice chip features a larger catalogue of phrases. Unfortunately, these innovations have some drawbacks of their own. The wings are designed to become unclipped if the toy takes any kind of impact, presumably for safety reasons, but they pop off way too easily, and it's not uncommon to find dozens of wingless Buzzes online because of this. Likewise, the new voice chip isn't super great. In place of Tim Allen, the voice is provided by Pat Fraley, who does a fairly decent impression. The problem is that the lines are super crunchy and compressed to a distracting degree. Even when I was a kid, I thought this toy sounded like it was underwater.
Sounds like a car ran over it.
The design more broadly is similarly middling. The overall proportions look a lot better in my opinion. There's some new painted details that were missing on the Thinkway version, and the head sculpt is nicely done. But it's painted in a very stylized fashion, and that combined with the washed out colours on the rest of the figure make it look more like a storybook illustration than a 3D cartoon character. Additionally, the inclusion of an anti-gravity belt that does nothing seems like a huge missed opportunity. As such, while there were some clear improvements made by Hasbro here, the original Thinkway toy still takes the cake in terms of film accuracy. On saying that, I do still really like this toy, since it was my original Buzz growing up. When merchandising began to ramp up in anticipation of Toy Story 3, it was Mattel's turn to give us their take on our favourite Space Ranger. And on first glance, this Buzz seems like the glow-up of the century, with by far the most movie-accurate sculpt and paint so far. But the more things change, the more they stay the same, because for some reason this Buzz reverts to the horizontal wings of the '95 toy. We've also dropped back to only 5 voice lines, though they are provided by Tim Allen this time.
Buzz Lightyear!
This release was exclusive to the UK and Australia, which makes finding pictures of it pretty hard. So thanks, random eBay user whose name I forgot to write down. Later on, this same sculpt, or at least one very similar to it, was used to make Turbo Glow Buzz and a bunch of other gimmick toys. While I do think these are enjoyable in their own way, they're not really worth talking about in terms of a movie-accurate Buzz Lightyear experience. With Hasbro and Mattel both failing to make any real headway towards a movie-accurate Buzz, Thinkway returned in 2009, declaring, "I'll do it myself." The result was the Toy Story collection, which attempted to create
the best Buzz Lightyear ever made.
And in contrast to some other toys in this range, Buzz actually comes very close to that goal. Like the original, this toy makes use of Pixar's digital data, and that process has evidently improved over the years because this sculpt is near perfect. Likewise, the colours and decals surpass the Mattel figure, and we also see the return of glow-in-the-dark paint for the first time since the original Buzz. Equally impressive are the play features. Alongside all the established basics, we finally have the wrist communicator as a standard feature, and light-up tips on wings that actually flip out the right way. The most prominent addition, however, is the 2 modes of play, a toy mode which limits Buzz to the sound bites present in the movie, and Space Ranger mode, which includes an animatronic head and response to stimuli. All this with tons of brand new lines recorded by Mike McRae, as well as increased articulation. This is all to say that the Toy Story Collection Buzz is an incredible experience. While it is unfortunate that it couldn't incorporate all the play features, the brilliant sculpt and additional playability still put it head and shoulders above every other Buzz so far. What's not so incredible is the hefty price, which, like Mr. Potato Head, has only worsened on the aftermarket. So while the Toy Story collection figure raised the bar in terms of movie accuracy and playability, its comparatively high price made it less accessible, creating a need for a cheaper option.
Looks very, similar.
As you can probably tell, Thinkway's Playtime Buzz recycles the entire sculpt of the Toy Story collection version, but it ditches some of the more premium features, falling in line with a more standard Buzz toy experience. However, at a mere $50 compared to the $170 of the collection version, this Buzz makes for an excellent affordable alternative. Or at least it did. This figure was introduced in 2009, and it remained on shelves in various forms all the way up until 2019. At that point, Thinkway replaced it with a swath of visually similar yet inferior Space Rangers for Toy Story 4, none of which could even be bothered with basic articulation or proper paint apps. These Buzzes spread the gimmicks out among 3 separate releases, and this in turn forced people to shell out an extra $120 on a new run of collection toys if they wanted a Buzz with even its basic features fully intact.
It's like printing my own money.
Despite this extortionate exercise, it was nice to see the collection Buzz make a comeback. In my case, I happened to find mine for $10 at Vinnie's, but I did have to clean off a Sharpie mustache.
Real funny, Woody.
Here in Australia, this 2019 release, now under the Signature Collection name, was available from Zing Pop Culture, alongside Signature Collection Woody. However, when I walked into my local Zing, I was instead met with this. Our final exhibit is Disney Store Buzz, and aside from that slightly strange looking head sculpt, its features create some tough competition for the signature collection. For the first time ever, this Buzz includes all of the features from the movie, with some small caveats. The helmet whoosh is activated by this tiny button, which is fairly well hidden, but the karate chop mechanism unfortunately forces the wings to be crammed into a much smaller space, giving them an oddly skinny look. Regardless, finally incorporating these features at all is an impressive feat. In addition, we also get light-up rocket boosters, and on some versions a sensor allowing Buzz to interact with other Disney Store toys.
I am Buzz Lightyear. I come in peace.
Shut up, Buzz. I'll kill you.
In terms of movie-accurate features, this Buzz definitely takes the win. Sadly, it's let down hard by the presentation. While all the key details are present, small things such as the shape of the buttons and the wingtips are slightly off, just enough to be noticeable. The voice lines are once again taken from the movie, but the quality of the voice box varies significantly across different versions. The most prominent issue I've seen is that in the packaging these big red "Try Me" arrows are pasted directly onto the toy, because people definitely need to be told to press the big colourful buttons. The problem is they're stuck on like shit to a blanket, to the point that even official Disney-endorsed videos don't even bother trying to remove them. Similarly, the plastic quality on some parts is comparatively flimsy and the sticker application is pretty sloppy. While this Buzz is admirable for its integration of previously neglected features, in terms of overall quality I would still have to give the victory to the Toy Story collection. On saying that, the Disney Store figure is significantly cheaper, especially today, making it the only affordable option for a Buzz with more than the bare basics. If you are shopping for a new Buzz Lightyear, just remember to look carefully at what you're getting. Both of these figures come in very similar packaging, and given that the Disney Store version is often sold alongside Signature Collection Woody, it's easy to get mixed up.
You are a liar!
What also doesn't help is that the Disney Store toy has become a favourite of bootleggers, with hundreds of fakes showing up online. And hilariously, at some point they got this Buzz mixed up with the Disney Store version of the original Thinkway toy, meaning we now have these modern style Buzzes in 23-year-old Star Command cartoon packaging. Or at least that would be the most sensible explanation. But no, it turns out that for some reason this was an official packaging variant for this figure, even though the show it's promoting was cancelled 9 years before its release.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I never realized until I began making this video that this figure has been around for just as long as the Toy Story collection version, making both about 14 years old. With Toy Story 5 fast approaching, it makes me wonder what new innovations could be brought to a Buzz Lightyear toy if it was made from scratch today. Something I'd like is some improved arm articulation like what we've seen on some smaller scale toys. Tell me in the comments what you'd add, and more importantly, which toy you think takes the title of the best Buzz.
To infinity